Hello, hello, hello. I know the audio's working now. We got this stuff down. How's everyone doing tonight? Or this late evening for the Northeast right now? Look at these temperatures, guys. For the second day in a row, it's changed so far, but we've hit over 100 degrees in this area. Three different states, 2 days in a row now. Obviously, at this time of night, it's going to drop a little bit. We're still looking at 97 degrees in many areas of the Southwest. We're entering that time period. What's up, Net Official Cheryl? I saw you. How are you? Mass Destruction. Good to see you, buddy. Just went. Much love to you, too. Firm Heaven. I believe that's what you're spelling there. How are you? Good evening, Shayna. Christopher, what's up, buddy? Mark Hugel, I see you up there. Hello. Hello to me, too. Look at that. I commented. Hello to me. Good evening, good evening. All right, so we're gonna, I know, I say this every night, but we're gonna try to keep this under 2 hours, hopefully an hour and a half. We're going to get to the main info that we need to talk about, and that is going to be the flooding going on in Texas. What happened in Louisiana last night was just a pretty significant situation. Lots of rain. In one part of Louisiana, they had 7 inches of rain within a 24-hour period. Baton Rouge had about 4 or 5 inches of rain. We were pointing out all these little puff explosions we were watching due to that invest that we were following in the Gulf. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to talk about some other not so good news. So, due to this flooding, you can read it right here. We've had 1 lost life as of now. Parts of the Gulf Coast inundated with a month's worth of rain in 24 hours. Think about that. A month worth of rain in 24 hours. So I'm going to scroll down, try to keep this to some text for now. This is important to read out. So for those of you that are not into this reading stuff, I got to do it sometimes. It's got to be done. So with that said, let me just make sure my audio is good. You guys got me on audio? Everything's cool? At least it should be for now. You should be seeing some text up here. Yeah, at FRM Heaven. Hope you're staying safe because it's getting serious. So, with that said, let's get on with this really quick, and then we'll get into some of the charts and get into our business here. All right, the Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast was deluged by drenching rains Wednesday night into Thursday. That was last night into tonight, with some places, seeing a month's worth of precipitation in a 24-hour period. Guys, I don't know if you realize how important that is. When you get a month's worth of rain in one day, that should let you know things are changing. And I'm going to show you some charts. In fact, I'll just pop one up really quick. This is our Cape look right now, and you can see exactly why this part of Texas is getting slammed right now. This is why you're seeing the Gulf pull this moisture up into Louisiana. This is why we had our tornado warnings there last night. Possible touchdowns. I got to look into that. We'll do that together. But let's get back to where I was here. All right, so 24-hour period, we saw a month's worth of rain. I'm assuming they're talking about the Louisiana area with that 7+ inches. The heavy rain sparked flash flooding, which is being blamed for at least 1 death and triggered chaos along south central U.S., where an outbreak of severe weather also erupted. Again, we watched these last night. We were watching these giant puffs. They look like explosions. And when you see those and you match them to other charts, you see this abrupt amount of lightning, and then all of a sudden it is like monsoon city. It is just this water comes out of nowhere, the flash flooding comes out of nowhere, and it's like zero warning whatsoever. So it's important to understand this information. I think we read this. We got that. All right. So part of this is tropical moisture. And I'm saying this because we are starting to deal with tropical situations as far as hurricane season, the Gulf being as warm as it is. Now they're going to start using that word tropical a lot because this is where that moisture is coming from. This is tropical weather. This is coming from the Caribbean. This is coming from the Bahamas. Anything in the Gulf now is above 80 degrees easily. So that is playing a huge factor in why these storms are so strong. And then, of course, we have our jet stream not helping that much, and the constant inflows of these systems that are coming in from the west is just adding to it. A lot of them, again, like I say all the time, coming in from the Baja region. It's just it's the perfect set of events to have these types of situations, and they're happening more and more. And it's just displacing people. It's unfortunate. It's not a good situation. And again, we're not seeing much of an end in sight. There are some areas that will receive a little bit of relief, followed by non-relief. So, each part of the country is going to get their little breaks here and there. The northeast of PA right now, we had a great day here. Then you get down to the Gulf, and it's the exact opposite. And then the Gulf gets better. The northeast takes its turn. It's like, a game of seesaw almost. All right. Meanwhile, tropical moisture from the Gulf of Mexico is expected to fuel more rounds of rain through the weekend. Sorry about that. I did not want to do that. Let's get back to the article. So we are expecting more of this. Just like I said, this is not going to be the end of these storms coming in from the Gulf. This is not going to be the end of Texas and the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi and that panhandle of Florida. Obviously, this is not the end. So there we go. I did it again. Unreal. We'll get rid of this one and this one and back here. All right, so I'm going to say exaggerated flash flooding across southeast Texas and southeast Louisiana. As much as 3 to 5 inches of rain could fall on a daily basis. All right, so we've had our 7 inches of rain fall in Louisiana last night. Well, within that 24-hour period going into last night and then through today. And some areas may be hit with a foot or more of rain from the multi-day event. So even though it might not be 24 hours, we're talking feet of rain now. So I had this posted in the thumbnail. You could see right here, Lafayette, Louisiana, 7.05 inches of rain within a 24-hour period. Other areas a little lower, but the point being is this. See this purple here? This is where you're getting your main source of rain, and it's all constantly coming up. This is certainly a tropical situation. It's not a tropical storm. It's not a tropical cyclone. It's not a depression. It could have been. This is, again, what we were talking about. Could have been Barry, but it did perform. It did bring the rain that we expected to come, and you're seeing it right here. It's moving its way in through Louisiana and now finally moving out towards the west, towards Mississippi and Alabama. We got to kind of wait and see if they're going to get the same amount of moisture. It all depends on a lot of things, especially the charts. Now, again, going back to our articles, you could just see every couple hours all they're talking about are these areas in Baton Rouge and all over Texas and how it's affecting the crops and just stuff we are not seeing a lot on the news about. Yes, they're talking about the weather itself, but they're not talking about the cause and effects. They're showing the dramatic pictures and stuff like that. But for those of you that like to follow this stuff very closely, Twitter has been pretty on top of this stuff as far as like updating every couple minutes, and there's tons of people out there that get their info out there with their cell phones and their tweets, but a lot of these are useful. So unprecedented floods came out of nowhere. That is the common theme right now. These people that are living in these areas that are used to this type of moisture, in some cases, are saying that this is coming out of nowhere, and that is somewhat true. Now, it could come out of nowhere if you're relying on mainstream media. I'm not putting down mainstream media. What I'm saying is that they typically don't really warn you until that stuff is really on top of you. Now, we like to follow this stuff, whether it happens or not. We like to follow it from when we start to see it until that it at least breaks apart and either does what it's going to do or not. So that's a big part of this. So again, unprecedented floods came out of nowhere. Baton Rouge home stayed dry while other areas obviously were hit hard. It's almost like it skipped some areas and it hit other areas. That's where we get those storm cells from. And a lot of these invests or previous invests, they tend to follow the same pattern as if they were cyclones. So they kind of focus on one area, and I believe that's why that part just south of Baton Rouge was the area that got hit the hardest. You could see if this was a cyclone, this would have been the area it would have hit, dropping the most amount of rain in this strip here. You could see there's plenty of purple here, and then they got that 7.5 inch rainfall by Lafayette, but no readings right here. So again, it could be separate readings. They may have just not put them there. Your guess is as good as mine as far as that goes. But when you see 7 inches of rain in 24 hours, that is not good, especially what's been going on lately. You name it, the tornadoes, the systems coming, all that stuff. It's just non-stop. So now what I'm going to do is start getting rid of tabs as I'm moving forward so we can stay on topic here. And I'm going to be checking the chat here and there to make sure we are staying on track. True Helper, of course, thank you for being here, as always. Norway, what's up, buddy? All right, Norway, we got in there. I'm sure he can answer some questions for you guys. Night Owls, yes, we are Night Owls here. I'm going to start getting these live streams out a little bit earlier. I did have a video I posted a bit earlier that had to be done, guys. This guy out of, where was it? I have it written down right here. Out of Whitehaven, Pennsylvania, actually left a message on, where was it? I forget the exact radio station, but they leave messages about their concerns about their town. And this guy in Pennsylvania is claiming that because of all the roundabouts they're building in the state of Pennsylvania, which they are, it's true, they are popping up everywhere. He literally claims in this voicemail, I played part of it in the video right before this one, that he believes that these roundabouts are causing the uptick of tornadoes in Pennsylvania because of how the cars circle around the roundabouts and could cause a disruption in the atmosphere. His words, not mine. Now, I'm not here to mock this guy. I am going to admit I giggled a little bit while reading it. It was hard not to. I'm not making fun of the guy because, I mean, for all I know, he could be onto something. I mean, who knows? We don't know. I'm going to look into it. I understand a lot of people are just like, insane news, not possible. I mean, but we don't know, so we're going to take a look into it. At least I am. If I feel that it's something we need to know about, or if you guys feel like it's something you need to know about, please let me know and I will dig right into it and I will compare notes. I'll find out when PennDOT started building these things. I'll find out when the tornadoes started upticking. I'll do every bit of research you need done, and we're going to come to a conclusion with this whatsoever. But I had to post that. Caroline sent me that article, and I was blown away that they had that on the news, and it was just something that needed to be done. So anyway, with that said, as you can see here, guys, South Texas is still covered in yellow. Severe thunderstorms. There's a lot of moisture down in that area. I'm telling you, the Gulf is filled with energy. Anything that comes across the Baja region and Mexico, which you can see the green down in here. Some of this tends to come out to the Pacific, but a lot of it mixes here and will make its way through Texas. We're just seeing a lot of buildup here, and I showed you that again on Ventus Sky. This is our Cape readings, and when you start seeing these 3,000 numbers, I mean, it's more common in the water because that's where most of the energy is. The warm water produces this type of stuff, but you see it starting to bleed into areas just south of San Antonio. We're basically in Houston there, and we're on current date. As I move forward here, you could see we kind of have a little bit of a dip downwards, which is a good thing, but at the same time, the flow is starting to go towards Louisiana again. Now, when we get to the 8th, you could see it goes just under Louisiana, and then it wants to start kicking towards the panhandle of Florida. Now, we're still within that 5-day period, and then just check the difference out between the 8th here. Look at the San Antonio area. This is how quickly these Cape numbers change and how quickly we could be seeing another tornado outbreak or at least another severe weather outbreak in this part of the country. Again, I'm sticking to the Gulf on this live stream here because they need the most information they could possibly get at this time. But just look at the difference between the 8th and the 9th. We'll go back to the 7th real quick. You can see it's still sticking into Texas here. We get to the 8th, it kind of pulls in a little bit, got a little bit of energy here just south of San Antonio, but then you go to the 9th, a day later, and then check this out. This entire area to the west of Dallas is now being affected by a downflow that is coming from the upper part of the U.S. Down through Oklahoma City and interacting with this upflow in the Gulf. So we're still dealing with this mess. And now if we move forward into the 10th, you see it sort of dissipate. So this is like every 24 hours we have like a almost different forecast going on. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Now that we're at the 11th, look at this. The entire east coast of Florida is now loaded with this Cape number that is capable of producing many, many strong storms along the coast. The flow is going east or west to east across Florida, so we can expect a lot of rain, some major thunderstorms over Florida. Again, we're going to be using radar scope to follow that closely. They're not quite there yet, but we can see the marine statements down in that exact area by Texas right now. I am a little surprised they don't have some of the green flash flooding here. I think that's because the one of those parts of those big storms has come and gone and now moved towards Louisiana, which raises the question again why they don't have the severe flooding or severe storm warnings there yet. But the special statements as of right now are more in Arkansas and Oklahoma. So these are the flash flood areas. We're not seeing much yellow as far as severe thunderstorms, which is a good thing, but flash flooding is no different. Just because you're not seeing severe storms doesn't mean there aren't storms there. So, for example, if we were to go to Oklahoma, for example, these 3 spots in Oklahoma, one goes into Arkansas, it looks like. Actually, let's check that one out, that bulk in Arkansas. And we'll let our radar load here. I have it set on quite a high, ay caramba, what word am I looking for? Quality. Let's say quality, so we can get a better look at some of these systems here, and we'll understand a little more about why these are flash flood areas. And again, you'll see the cells. You'll see the storm cells, that's for sure. And you can kind of just get an idea here. And as it reaches the end of its frames, that's when you can see where those flash floods are going to be set. So if I stop it right there, this is what it moves into. So once again, as I backtrack, you still see these boxes here. The boxes are there for that final frame right there. That's what these boxes are here for. So they're assuming that this weather is moving into these boxes. And then as you move up here, you see the orange. The orange is a bit more of a significant situation for this area. And then you could see these little bits of oranges moving into this box. And the yellows and oranges here. Nothing super crazy, but it's the rain on top of the rain on top of the rain over the last weeks and weeks and weeks that are causing these flash floods. So you may not be seeing these giant cells pouring down massive amounts of rain. It could be just normal rain that's just adding on top of already flooded areas, and that's why they're continuing to keep these green flash flood zones open for us to look at. We'll check out Little Rock now. Let's see if we got this one here. Nope, that's the wrong one. We'll see if this is it. That's the wrong one. It's got to be the Arkansas one. There we go. So we'll go over here, and we'll probably see the same situation going on right around Little Rock, Arkansas. We'll hit play here so we can load that. Check out some comments. 75 humid here in Georgia. Good, man. Well, not the humid part, but at least you're getting some decent temperatures. But with that mugginess, it can get pretty hot. I'm not liking the mugginess in NEPA right now. So, like I said, again, same situation. Again, keep in mind these boxes are here for the final frame. They put these here in anticipation of where they believe these cells are going to move. This is radar scope. I gotta say it like I always do. $29.99 in your app store. Totally cool app. You don't have to, root your phone or any of that stuff. It's a legit app you can get on Mac, you can get on PC, one-time payment. You can add your own little tiers to it that cost a little extra, but you don't necessarily need them. But a great app, as always. You will see a lot of this from me. But with that said, you can see how these cells are moving into place, and I'm going to hit pause on the final frame. And we'll see exactly what we're looking at and why they're calling for flash flooding in these areas by Little Rock. Right there. Okay, so basically what they're saying is this is still rain, believe it or not. Here's a cell here, a decent cell by Humanoke. And then we got England here, Keogh, Woodson, Hensley. East End is just out of the flash flood warnings. But you got to remember we have this down here. If I open up our tracks, let's do that because those are pretty important. We have our tracks open. All right, so maybe we got to change to the velocity to get an idea of our track here. These might track our systems. No, they're not. All right, so I guess the tracks are more for the severe weather that we're going to be dealing with. But the point being is that it is raining in these areas that are saturated, like beyond saturated. Luckily, nothing too close to the Mississippi yet, even though we've had that breach in Arkansas that they're talking about a lot because it's in a spot where it's just letting water. Oh man, the amount of water flowing out of this. I had some pictures pulled up, but they were copyright pictures. I couldn't use them, unfortunately. I have a lot of people sending in pictures, so I'm going to be able to throw videos together where we can actually use user-submitted pictures and get a good idea and not have to worry about the copyright stuff and everything like that. That's what I want to try to get going is the submissions from subs or us, as in me and Caroline going out, getting our own pictures. We're just not in a position right now to make these trips. We will probably in the next couple of weeks, couple months. We'll see what happens. But with that said, we're going to be moving on here. Again, a lot of this, it has to do with the Cape energy, guys. And I will take another video and I will re-explain the Cape energy because there is a lot that goes into Cape. It's not just one measurement. It doesn't measure just one thing, but it's a very good tool in using as far as energy when you want to see if tornadoes are possible, hail, the strength of a storm. You can check the height of clouds. Again, I've mentioned the higher the clouds reach up in the sky, chances are the storms are stronger on the ground. And just, with this constant change we've been having, you just got to keep checking this stuff on an hourly basis. So, I am all over this stuff on a daily basis, which is why sometimes during these live streams, I don't even know what direction to go in because there's so much to talk about that I could do a live stream for 5 minutes, make that a video, jump on, make another one, and make that a video. But I just feel like that's too much for people to process watching video after video. So I try to combine what I can in a live stream and then separate videos for specific topics. We'll see how it works out. We'll see how you guys like it. And we're always taking suggestions from you guys. So we really appreciate that as well. Let me check out what you guys are saying here. Kilbu, how are ya? Or Kibu, I'm sorry. Those are I's, not L's. Hey, yeah, welcome Green Mountain, Cryptid Research, Pennsylvania here. Yes, PA. We got a lot of PA here today, which is a good thing. PA is a good state. Hope everyone has a good rest of the week. Got to get to sleep final tomorrow. Mike, good luck on your final. Thanks for coming in, buddy. Another favorite hurricane track is an East Coast dweller. However, it's not as certain as what the storm will do. That's very true. We've been watching that one for days now. In fact, we can take a look at that one now. And this is actually part of it, I think. What's the date we got up here? Yep, the 13th. By the 13th, right now, it's saying this is where this puppy's going to be. But you bring it down like this. And again, this isn't in that hurricane tab yet. This is just straight up weather. And you could see as we move from the 7th into the 8th, we have one system here. This is what has been tearing across Texas, Louisiana. And again, like I said, it's going to make its way through Mississippi, Alabama, the Panhandle. And in fact, you do see a strip of severe weather hit Florida here. So Florida, you're going to get clipped by this, no doubt about it, especially with the low pressure system being over whether it's Alabama or Mississippi. That's basically both states to me. But as we move forward here, even without the hurricane app pulled up, you see a little bit of that western. There's another system up here. Again, I know I'm jumping all over, but we got low pressure here. This is all coming in from the west. We have a separate system here. But again, it's just on a repeat cycle. This is going to drop down dramatically. We talked about this last night. It had that arc curve to it. And then the second this high pressure pushes the low pressure into Texas, look what happens. We get those yellow colors. Boom, right there on the west side of Texas. This is going to do the exact same thing we just saw. It's going to clip the coast of Texas and maybe even part of central Texas, which is also a place they don't need more water. And then once again, as clockwork, it's going to go right across Louisiana and then ride right up the East Coast based on the current atmospheric conditions we have, with the jet stream not really helping us out too much in the last couple of weeks. Again, we should have some relief coming up, but we see the low pressure here, and this is what's concerning to me. So we'll look at it one more time as a low pressure system with this chart here, and then what we'll switch to is our MSLP 850 wind chart, and you can kind of get a better idea of what we might be seeing when that date of the 11th, 12th, and 13th comes. So it is a little weaker than we saw before, and you can see it right there. So this is the low pressure system we've been looking at and expecting between the 11th and the 16th. It is changing days. It's going from the 10th to the 16th. It's going from the 12th to the 14th. Again, this is what happens when you're talking about stuff that are days and days out. But as we approach these days, we can get more confident about what this is going to do. Now, in my opinion, I don't know that this thing's going to develop into a storm yet. Again, this is the 12th. They're claiming by the 12th that it will already cross Florida, possibly hit the Panhandle, and then kind of swing up into South Carolina. Now, we are at the 7th, so we're talking 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 days away. We're within the realm of this being a legit forecast. So that's what we want to look out for, is those 5 days. Anything after 5 days, as we say, is a coin toss. But as we're moving forward, we see this thing kind of blow up as it hits the Panhandle. So we could be dealing with a situation where Florida, part of the Panhandle, obviously Georgia, South Carolina, and then as we move forward another day or two, like we said, guys, we did talk about this, the Outer Banks getting clipped pretty hard with a low pressure system. It doesn't seem to drop below 1,000 millibars, which is good. The lower the millibars, the stronger the storm is. In fact, we don't see it drop at all. In fact, we have an average of about 109 when it begins its route through the Panhandle. One of the lowest numbers we see right now is 105 and 104, which is good, but certainly will bring rain, wind, and it's a coastal issue. So if you have anything on the coast where there's water that can be used as fuel, it's going to be a rainmaker. So I would prepare for this in the next 5 days for the Panhandle of Florida, parts of Georgia, certainly areas of South Carolina and North Carolina, and then in turn the Outer Banks of, North Carolina. I'm sorry, guys. And then we got Virginia up there. I don't want to go too far ahead of myself, but you can kind of see how this thing just kind of shoots up the East Coast, and then that big roundabout here, keeping it on the outside, not allowing it inside. This is one of those force field pressure balls we always talk about, kind of like the Bermuda Atlantic bubble we see in the Atlantic Ocean. So With that said, we're on a repeat cycle with this rain, guys. There's no end in sight with that as of right now. We are seeing the hotter temperatures down in the south here, the southwest. That's a good thing. It's normal. It's that time of year we start seeing those temperatures. Now, what I'm concerned about is if we start seeing these rain situations moving into California and Southern California, and then the Sierra Nevada mountains, and then in turn Nevada, and then seeing how that will affect other systems that move down from the west into ground zero. It's all going to play a part in all this stuff. So let's see what else we got to cover here. We covered that for sure. But once again, guys, you got to focus on this energy. The red is the most important part to keep your eyes on. So, like I said, we did see this part here, but this could extend all the way up into mid-Missouri for all we know. Kentucky, Tennessee, you are completely covered in this, and this is in the coming days. So, weather valid 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday, June 6, 2019 to 8 a.m. Friday. So, this is going through Friday, which is tomorrow. Yes, this is going through tomorrow. So basically through tomorrow, just like we expected, we want to watch this area closely. And I am actually extending this to Georgia and South Carolina because by the looks of the charts, that's exactly where it wants to go, is up in this direction. And then your guess is as good as mine. We're going to be dealing with a northeast situation for sure. So lightning is matching our current situation with this chart here. Sorry, actually, let's get rid of the charts we're not using. Again, let's stay on topic here, and we'll get this actually to a legit live stream. All right, we'll go to current time right now so we can see exactly what's going on now. We got this mess here, and then this, again, is all going to drop down and reset this to exactly what you're seeing here. So this will soon become this, and we may be dealing with the same exact situation that we dealt with in Texas last night and Louisiana last night. All right, comment time. Let's see what we got going on here. Mass destruction, yeah, I think so. I can only post links when you're minority tracking. Yes, I know. We got True Helper in there now. We got a little bit of rule changing going on with the links. It's hard to get links on here because sometimes the links can actually affect the video themselves. So I got to be careful with the links I'm posting on here. Hashtags usually don't post. So the best advice I can give for right now is if you do post a link and I see it and I deem that it's something that will help the community, I will then approve it. Or I'll have one of the moderators approve it. In fact, True Helper, I sent you an email going over a few things. When you get a chance, we can respond, and we'll talk about how we can go about this so people are all in agreement and understand exactly what we can and cannot do in the chat. So, and Solvis, I agree. No links. The links, unless they're absolutely necessary and we all need to look at something, links are just not something you really want to do in live chats. Links we can post in videos after they've been posted. Again, if they relate to the material. We're not trying to really promote other channels right now at this moment. We're trying to get information out to people that need the information. So we're going to slow down on that a bit. Again, if it's something that people need to see, then absolutely that will be approved. We're learning as we go here, guys. So we just got to bear with it and stick to the information that we're putting out on this channel right now. So that's what I have to say about that for now. I'm in touch with the mods. We're going to figure out how to handle this. So we're going to figure it out one way or another. Ventus Sky, we pretty much covered. We could move into the 12th, 13th, 14th. Let's see what we got. Yeah, so you can see here, guys, just like I said, that system moving in from the west, by the time we get to the 14th, that's what's going to be dropping down into this area. You see the upflow, but it seems like this is wanting to come down, and then we're seeing this here, and that's all part of hurricane season, guys. You're going to start seeing this entire area just completely lit up every single day. We're seeing it out here now, and you're starting to see this highway right here. I call this the Hurricane Highway. When these storms, and you can see them right here, guys, these are going to start moving a little bit more north. You're going to notice there's one here, one here, one here. There's about 3 separate systems right here in Africa. They come off here, usually by the Cape Verde Islands. So you're going to see these move up a little north as the next couple weeks go by. These things are going to drop by down by the Cape Verde Islands, and we're going to start watching hurricanes form, and we're going to start counting the days until they start reaching these areas of the Leeward Islands and then Puerto Rico, so on and so forth. So we're right there, guys. We're literally days away from seeing invest starting to pop up. I'm actually surprised that we have not seen more invests in the Pacific, but with that said, that's leading me to believe that a lot of this energy is going to be staying in the South Caribbean, which means these are going to be Atlantic hurricanes and not Pacific hurricanes. If you guys remember last year, Pacific was a very busy season. A lot of those hurricanes headed out right towards Hawaii, like literally beelined towards Hawaii. They got hit by one. They had one go right over it. They had one go under it. Hawaii was definitely on their toes last year between Kilauea going off, the earthquakes, the hurricanes, you name it. The Pacific Ocean was on fire last summer and this winter even. So that does not mean there will not be invests in hurricanes that come out of this area. It's just a gut feeling I'm getting that this energy here is going to be more of a Southern Caribbean thing, where we are going to see more Atlantic hurricanes come out of this area rather than the Pacific ones. And the things with these hurricanes is they're very unpredictable, because at least with the ones that come off the west coast of Africa, we have an idea. We can read them. We can send out airplanes once they get close enough to about the Leeward Islands. We send out our recon planes to measure them. But we get a good 5-6 day watch when these things form. And some of them in 2017, they were literally hurricanes by definition, category 1s, even 2s, by the time they were right here. So we watched them turn into 3s, 4s, back to 3s, to 4s, to 5s. And we saw more 5s in 2017 than ever before. With one hitting last year, Hurricane Michael, obviously. That was changed to a Category 5. Before that was Andrew in 1992. That's as far as landfalls, but we did see many Category 5s in 2017. I believe we will see a Cat 5, if not 2. That's my low-balling guess. We're going to see some significant hurricanes, that's for sure. And the atmospheric conditions are what's telling me that. So, all right, Ventus Sky, we are done with Ventus Sky for now. We have gone over what we expect, or what we're kind of expecting to see. More than likely not going to be a cyclone. I don't know that this will be in the Gulf long enough to form to the point where it becomes a tropical depression and then be named as a storm. We are still waiting for Barry to be named, which is the second letter. We already had Andrea, which came and went quickly. It was right out in this area, took a hard right back into the ocean where it belongs. And then Barry was a scare for a while. So if we don't see Barry in the next 6 or 7 days, Barry is going to have to be another situation. But again, like I said, those situations are coming, and they're coming pretty quickly. So we finished with these two. That's a good thing. And now with the sun. Now, I want to point some things out and make a correction. I was calling these sunspots on a previous video. I was corrected by someone. They are absolutely right. These are not sunspots. What I want to look at and I want you guys to focus at are these dark holes. These are coronal holes. Now, these things are what shoot out coronal mass ejections, and this is what will shoot particles at Earth at record speeds, thousands and thousands of miles an hour, and all we have in between us and that is our atmosphere to stop us, depending on what part of the Earth is facing the sun at the time that these particles hit. These have been known to cause seismic activity changes. They've been known to cause changes in the weather, and this is what the sun looks like right now. So we currently have 1, 2, possibly 3 coronal holes Earth-facing. We got these bright areas up here. There's not been much action as far as any filaments exploding or anything of that nature. But I just wanted to make that correction that I was calling these sunspots when they actually were not sunspots. They were not named on Space Weather Live, so I just wanted to make that known. Here is a live view of what we are looking at as the sun over the last 72 hours. You could see this coronal hole is moving out of Earth facing, which is a good thing. These up here are still Earth facing, just above what our equator would be, which would be right around there. We have a coronal hole up to the north, and then usually the poles on either side are usually dark. We've been seeing this for years now. It's just the way it is. The poles of the sun act not similar to the globe because of the temperature. Obviously, this is the sun. Our poles are cold. The sun's poles are not cold, but they still have poles. So you can see the black here, coronal hole here, and then we get some brightness up here passing just the center of the Earth right now. Hopefully these pass without incident, as we saw a lot of this stuff create a lot of seismic activity on Earth about 2 weeks ago now. So this chart here is showing the tornadoes we've seen in Pennsylvania. We've had 28, possibly 29. Average for Pennsylvania is 16 a year, usually not going past EF0 to EF1. We've had multiple EF2s and a possible EF3 this year so far. So that alone is something to look out for. I'm actually interested already in what's going to happen next year, and this season's not even over yet. So that's our tornado info for right now. And now I want to double check solar system scope just to make sure, because remember last night we had one pop up last minute, and a friend of ours happened to live in that area while Louisiana was getting slammed. So we wanted to keep an eye on that. We're glad they're safe, and we knew that we were not going anywhere until we knew that that person was safe. So we kept an eye on this area for a while. Let me just make sure there's nothing else here that we should go over quickly. If anybody wants the links to these websites, I will post them in the description box. This is our SDO. You can kind of just Google SDO and it will lead you to these types of sites. Let me get in the chat here real quick, see what you guys are talking about. Discord portal, mass storm, and mass destruction. Discord, maybe a YouTube chat. Discord server would be pretty cool. I agree. I think we're going to get 2 to 3 Cat 5s. I don't want to say more, but I don't know. The energy I'm seeing, the lineups I'm seeing, it's very, very, very similar to 2017. The jet stream is very similar to 2017. The El Nino factor that we're still in, believe it or not. Yeah, and this is just the average tornadoes for Pennsylvania as a whole. It's 16. Again, we are already way past that number at 28, so we can get rid of these. Again, we saw the SDO. We talked about that. And like I said, guys, our main focus right now has to be on our friends in Texas. There's a lot of flooding going on there. We have a very good weather reporter that lives right in this area. I'm sure you guys all know him. He's a great guy. He does a lot of hard work, and he's I don't know if he's posting on this yet. It's been a while since I've actually gone through my YouTube and watched other videos because I've been just spending a lot of time putting our own together, but I can only imagine that this is certainly affecting him right now. And again, this is frame 200, so this is current time right now. You see the reds right along the coast. They are getting slammed as we speak. So we'll check the lightning chart out. Matches perfectly. A lot of lightning on the coast there. A lot of lightning to the north of Louisiana, going into Arkansas. Part of that into southeast Oklahoma now. And again, I keep pulling up radar scope, and we're seeing some of this match up. Yep, here's the flash flooding for Oklahoma. Little Rock, Arkansas, certainly. Again, here's the border between Mississippi and Alabama. Flash flood warnings. And believe it or not, guys, this is actually a bit of a relief compared to seeing all these big yellow squares and all the tornado warnings. If you guys remember, we had 20 plus tornado warnings at the same time between Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Arkansas, Iowa, you name it. We had tornadoes everywhere for 2 straight weeks. It's something that a lot of people have not seen before, and I've actually been starting to watch the storm chaser videos, and you know what? It's got an itch on me. It's getting to me. I think I got bit by a weather bug, and I don't know. I want to start getting out there, and I want to start filming these things. I'm not gonna do it in a way where it's unsafe. I would never go out into these things unprepared or uneducated. There's plenty more people out there that are educated in storm chasing, but I don't know what it is. Something about it just wants me to get out there and see this stuff with my own eyes as opposed to just showing you guys charts every day. And that's also part of why I ask for footage that you guys are willing to allow us to show on the channel. Obviously, full credit will go to you. Any pictures or videos, again, you can hashtag us on Twitter, hashtag into family. You can reach out to our email. The best email is into thin air news, one word, just like into thin air is spelled, IN, the number 2, THINAIR, and then news, one word, at gmail.com. That is the best way to reach us, and then from then going forward, we could find out how we can exchange media, and we'll get it up here, and we're going to show the people what the people that live in these areas are seeing on the ground as opposed to what they're showing us on TV. I want to see the real thing. I not what they want us to see, if that makes sense. All right, where are we? Michigan, yes. Remember, we talked about Michigan last night. How'd that go for you? Did you end up getting that rain mass destruction? Dole crash tracking, yeah. We had big time lake effect snow this past winter, actually, believe it or not. Big time. Key boy, stay safe 2019 stormtroopers. Yes, I agree with that very much. That's a good comment. I like that. Later on in the season, the favorite track for hurricanes this hurricane season is a Caribbean Gulf storm. Example, Allen 1980, Gilbert 1988, and East Coast storm. Example, Isabel 2013, and Irene in 2011. Exactly. Yes, because these were all Gulf storms, and we are seeing this ridiculous energy in the Gulf. I know you're not seeing it on this chart. I'm just showing you the Gulf and the South Caribbean. This area is locked and loaded, guys. So I'm telling you, once you start seeing these storms coming off Africa and heading this way, the second they get to about right here or right here, it's game on. We are there. We are in hurricane season. So it's just a matter of time before we are on here every 4 hours tracking these storms, making our little hypotheses and guesses and this and that, and sometimes it's fun. I mean, as long as we're dealing with the storms out in the ocean, it's fun. I mean, watching these things form and the way they work, the way weather works, and how different things affect them. It's the most interesting thing in the world to me. Once they get close to land, that's when things get more serious, and we're concerned for people. That's when we start putting out our local weather stuff for people to know where their detours are or their mandatory evacuation routes. That is something I'm very, very on top of, especially when a hurricane's approaching the U.S. That's just the way it goes here. So expect that once we are in those situations. Right now, basically, we are still dealing with the crazy weather that's going right up Tornado Alley, which has shifted to the west and to the east and everything in between. So who knows when this is going to end, but in my opinion, it's not going to end. We're going to have this going on while we have a hurricane heading towards the U.S., whether it comes from this direction or that direction, in my opinion. because I am an amateur meteorologist. I do not claim to be a professional because I'm not. I'm not allowed to. But that doesn't mean we don't get things right on this channel, because we do. And you guys are a huge help. I got to 3 degrees Fahrenheit at a point last winter. Yeah, we were talking about that. Did I bring that up? I think the Dakotas this winter broke a record. Was that negative 60 this winter, a record breaker? There was negative 60, I believe, somewhat involved with a wind chill. Maybe not. I could be wrong about that. In fact, let's see. Well, this would be 2019. See, it's hard because we got December, we got November and December in 18, and then we got January, February in 19. So I should be looking in 2019, actually. Coldest temperature for 2019, unless someone's already answered it and I haven't even looked. Let's see. Sage is drunk. Sage Grace is drunk. I'm too drunk to taste this chicken. What is the coldest temperature ever recorded in North Dakota? I want to say negative 68. Negative 60. All right, so we were right with negative 60. It doesn't say whether or not that was due to a wind chill or if that was just a straight up temperature for over a minute. I believe it's got to be that for a minute or an hour. I know the minute goes towards hurricane season. Sustained winds for a minute would be that sustained wind. It's late enough at night that Saturn's now visible for me. What part of the sky? Because it's clear. It's very clear out right now, and I want to go get some shots outside tonight. I got some really good shots of the moon, actually. I might be able to, if you guys are willing to chill for 1 minute, I got some pretty cool shots of the moon. See if I can get this memory card in here, and we'll take one more look at him, and then I'm going to let you guys go because we're going to get to sticking to topics around here. And don't worry, we're going to have live streams where we can just all hang out, talk. We don't have to be on a specific topic, none of that stuff. We could do whatever we want to do. All right, here we go. So let me know how this quality comes out, because I'm showing you guys these straight from the camera memory card. So these are raw images that I took right before I made that first video. This was way before the sun came down. I didn't have to do much editing with the ISO here. But this is a Canon T6i camera, DSLR. I could have gotten the focus a little better in this picture. That's why clarity is a great thing. Northeastern sky into thin air. Yeah, that's exactly where it should be right now. But so yeah, we got this shot. And I swear, guys, sometimes I'm filming stuff like this, and you just see, like, a blink right here, where there should be no blink. I'm telling you, I got my mom into this stuff. She's like, you know, she'll call me, and she'll be like, Bri, have you seen the moon? Have you looked at the moon lately? It's incredible. Check it out. Go get your camera. It's like I got everybody going nuts over looking at the sky these days, as far as my family and friends goes. Yeah, it's hard to say if the moon's changed. I know it rotates in front of us, but we got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, when it gets a little darker, you can kind of make out a little more of the craters and stuff. And then you get these here, like these little specks, you know, just out of the region of the shadows where like those mountains peek out. You know what I mean? For those people that believe there is a moon out there. And if you simply go to edit and you go to, I mean, you could just do your basic enhancement. But what I like to do is I'll undo that, I'll go to adjustments, and then clarity usually gives you a much better look at the craters. But again, I was kind of going through this kind of quick because I wanted to get on here, so I didn't really get the quality I wanted as far as those moon shots. But there was one video I took, which I could fast forward through, which looks pretty cool. I like doing these time lapses.
All right,
of
this
the
is
moon,
recording.
at least 7-8 minutes long, and then you go through them
So
and see if anything
getting
passes
like a
by. But if you fast forward through it, you could just get an idea of the trajectory of the moon. This was about, how long was this? This is an 8-minute clip. So sometimes I will literally sit
this
here
is recording.
and watch this 8 minutes and see if anything
So
goes by.
I'm getting like a
happens
5,
over here,
6, 7 minute time lapse of the moon, and
something
then
shouldn't happen. Excuse me. And then you just slowly go up and down. It's time consuming, but this is how you find those anomalies, guys. This is where you find interesting things. And it's time consuming. It takes a lot of time to do this. You got to get out there and film it. You got to get it on the laptop. You got to render it. You got to run it through a program if you want to get some of those details out, or if you want to just put it up there raw. Ooh. I think those were birds. Or am I just seeing things now? Those are birds. All right, you ready for some birds to cross the moon? These birds are far away. Here we go. Watch. There they go. See all those little birds? That's crazy because I'm zoomed in 250 millimeters. So think about how far away these birds must be. Yeah, oh, Norway tracking the, whatchamacallit, the, when you get some of those clouds, like the sunset clouds and stuff like that, and you can get a good time lapse of those, oh my god, those are some of the most amazing time lapses you can get. Those birds, I love that shot. In fact, I might edit that up and get a close view and see if we can pull some of that out. I think it's right about here. I'm not sure if the quality is the same for you guys, but these birds should be flying by any second now.
Is that right? I saw the. All right, I saw the thing.
Yeah, I think I did it right.
Ooh, you separate.
Is that a flash? Do you guys see a flash? Or am I losing my mind? Look right here.
That's all.
Yeah. Kitty girl, come here. There's camera, and then I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah, I hear you. Don't bump it.
There's the birds. All right, so the birds are at 358. So we can watch the birds again right now. Watch closely. There they are. Boom. That's a good 10, 11 birds right there. And I swear I saw a little flash.
All right, I saw the things out there.
Yeah.
Jersey sunsets are
I
beautiful.
think I did it right.
Well, you separate them. That's all.
Yeah. Kitty girl, come here. There's camera, and then I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah, I've noticed it has been, obviously the sun's out later, but the thing for me is that the sun comes up sooner. So I try to get to bed before 4 and 5 a.m. By 5 a.m. the sun's coming up.
Come here, there's
I'm the type
camera,
of person where if I'm not asleep by the time the sun's up, it's hard for me to go to sleep. But I'm not going to sit here and try to look for a blinking light on a live stream for you guys right now. If I find it, I will repost it. But, yeah, these are always fun to do, these time lapses, especially with the moon, or if you get a really good shot of Jupiter, you can really get a great shot
be out
of
here
those
for
moons,
2 minutes?
guys. If you got the right settings on your
Just,
DSLR,
keep an eye out.
manual
You don't have
mode,
to watch it.
you can
Just keep
zoom
an eye
into Jupiter. You might not get those, you know, those nice rings around Jupiter because you got to adjust the ISO to bring the moons out, but you can get a good 13, 14, 15 moons clear as day surrounding Jupiter. And if you do a time lapse, you can watch these things like, what's the word? What's the term? Jeez. I keep drawing blanks lately. I'm not liking it. Orbiting. There you go. Orbiting Jupiter as if they were planets.
I have to
Just like the moon. But except Jupiter has 64 moons. Michigan. Karen, wish I had family. Oh, Karen, no. You got family
Alright.
here.
I saw the.
Birds at night.
All right, I saw
Mockingbirds
the
wake
things.
me. They could have been
Yeah.
bats, no?
I think I did a
Nah, I don't think they'll be bats. You see them
near
right
this
there?
camera and then I'm gonna be dead.
One more
Yeah, I
time.
hear you.
Here they come. Right here. They're all over the place. Look at them.
Are you afraid?
And I'm zoomed in at 250 millimeters.
With
All
you.
right. I think that's
Where
enough
are
of that
you
one.
going, kitty girl?
Got a few other shots of some interesting colors in the sky. You know. Just filming the sky. Nothing wrong with that, right? Get the pink bottoms. I love when the sky gets like this. I just miss it sometimes, though. All right, so with that said, my friends, we're going to actually do a short live stream tonight. I hope I got out enough information to where it was worth it to you guys. I'm glad you guys all showed up. Thank you so much, as always. Anytime anybody comes into this chat room, I am very grateful. You know, in conclusion, I guess all I can say is that we're going to be expecting this stuff. It's going to be not so much all just repeat information, but I mean, it's a matter of time before we're going to have another big story in the news, whether it's weather related or something else related. But right now, we really need to pay attention to the Gulf. The Gulf is a very prone area right now that is going to affect a lot of other areas. I always mention the domino effect, the Mississippi River, the crops that we have in Florida, crops everywhere, even in the middle of the country, just this moisture. Crops get too much moisture, they're done for the year. They don't get enough, they're done for the year. So it's like, you know, this really does play a role on the entire United States, even if weather is happening in only specific parts. So I can't stress that enough. So is that storm you mentioned last night still projected to come through on June 14th? Yes, we did talk about this briefly. I can get you a little bit of info on that real quick. We'll go over that one more time. I'll show you what Tropical Tidbits is saying. It's showing less of what we expected, which is a good thing. In fact, we'll change this to our MSLP. And this is what we're looking at now. So the first part of Barry that we expected came and went. That's what's saturating Texas as we speak with Louisiana. That's this right here. Because this was 2 days ago now. You could see June 5th is when this started rolling into Texas, and Louisiana, still affecting the area. Hardcore. Louisiana especially. And then now as you watch, as we move into the 8th, and then the 9th, then the 10th, and now when you start watching, you're going to see this thing come up. Oh no, we got a new set of data. Never mind. Got to go backwards. Don't you just love when that happens? So basically what happened just there is they have not finished their set of data for that day, so I got to go back to this to show you exactly what we're going to be seeing. And that is, I went too far, right here. There we go. So this is what we were looking at from the 11th to the 16th. And now when we backtrack below the 11th, we can see it is, from what looks to me, less of a system. It's got not much time to sit in the Gulf and rotate, but it is showing some severe spots going across Florida and Georgia, and then up through South Carolina would be my concern right now. If this were to stay as is, 7 days, we're at June 7th, so 5-6 days away from this date here. We can not totally rely on this being the situation, but that's what it looks like it's going to be. And then, of course, moving even a little bit farther past that, the Outer Banks I explained before, anytime you have a system that's half in water, half out of water, it acts as a source of fuel, and the Outer Banks may be feeling this pretty heavy, and then you got Chesapeake Bay, and then after that, your guess is as good as mine, guys, because you got a low pressure system with a ring that circles about 1,000 miles. You just never know. So this thing's kind of staying on the outside of this ring here. You got the Bermuda Atlantic pressure kind of pressing it up in this direction. So we could be dealing with a situation in Long Island, Maryland, parts of Rhode Island, Connecticut. Again, that would be June 13th. And as I said, on a daily basis, we'll be going through this just to make sure we know exactly what's going on. So I hope I answered your question there. And I think we've covered what I want to cover for the night. Unless you guys have any specific questions. Get back down to the bottom of the chat here. I got the chat open on the tablet, so I don't got to keep bouncing back and forth on you guys. We're learning as we go here. Things are getting easier. Mass destruction, where are you? Don't worry, True Helper. Nothing too crazy happened. Okay, good. All right. Good news there. Good news there. True Helper. Of course, my phone dies. Well, that's what happens when you moderate all day. I love it. Don't worry, True Helper. You're getting compensated for your hard work. And it's trust me, it's going to come in time. I promise you, my friend. You've been a huge help to this channel. Especially when mods are needed. In fact, it's gonna get to the point where we're gonna need probably a solid 3-4, depending on schedules. So, and my schedule could be changing soon. We might not be doing these at 10, 11, 12 at night anymore. They might be starting around 4, 5, and 6. So, I do like that. Hopefully that change is going to be a good adjustment for this channel, but we'll see what happens. Could be my mic, Salvis. I'm feeling pretty good right now. I slept till 4 o'clock, so. I just keep looking at this. I'm wondering, it's definitely this circle here. It's keeping it pressed out, and then we got the Bermuda Atlantic here keeping it pressed into the northeast and the east as a whole. But it's pulling that warm water up from the Bahamas and parts of Florida. So it's definitely got the energy there. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens by the 13th when it gets up there. But for right now, main concern would be Florida, Georgia, South Carolina for sure over the next 5, 6, 7 days when it comes to this system. Again, not too much time for it to form in the Gulf to be any sort of cyclone. We might have to wait for the next one for that, which is actually a good thing, guys. We don't want to see these things this close to home. Watching them come from Africa is one thing, because then we know they could turn up into the ocean. They may dissipate, things could happen. But when they start forming very close to home, that's when you got to be on the edge of your seat a little bit more than normal. So, all right, we went over this. We're good on here. We got our lightning going on over Louisiana. That's not going to stop anytime soon. And this is why, because we just got this giant mess going all over it. And there's a little refresh for us. So most of that lightning is coming from this part right here. So you don't always have to have these deep reds for there to be major lightning going on. And this area right here is certainly going to be moving up into Louisiana, probably within the hour. And then this is all moisture, guys. This is all moving up into every state on the East Coast right now. And then again, for the last time, this is going to do the same thing. This is going to take a hard drop down. We're going to see some severe weather in central Texas in the coming days. And then we're going to begin to see that arc back up to the northeast, as long as the jet stream doesn't save us somehow. But I don't see that happening within that period of time. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on it. All right. I didn't fall asleep during the stream. That's good to know. uh, yes, welcome to everyone that has joined recently. I'm actually going to be ending this one. We're going to try to keep these down to at least under 2 hours, so it's actually worth people going through and getting information. I'm going to start labeling different parts of these live streams so people can skip to certain parts they need to know about rather than having to skim through a 2 hour live stream to find out what's going on in their area. So, again, the live streams are more for so we could sit and talk and explain and teach and ask questions, answer questions. And then when I put out videos about specific topics, obviously I can focus more and stick to those topics, you know, because I'm a people person. I got to talk to you guys while I do these live streams. So thank you, True Helper, as always. Whenever I get a good job from you, I know I'm doing a good job. So Norway, same goes with you, buddy. It's time for bed, mass destruction. I agree. All right, guys, so we're going to cut this one. True Helper, thank you as always. We did not see Caroline tonight. A little bit under the weather. She needs her rest, which is totally fine. I told her don't even bother coming in unless she wanted to come say hi. But I think she's sleeping right now, to be honest. So don't take that to heart, guys. She loves all of you. She just needs her rest. She's definitely got to get some rest. She's been doing a lot of stuff with her father lately, getting the gardens ready. And then we got this stuff going on. We've been out filming. Oh, man, it's been a busy, busy few weeks for us. So, all right, third shift I found 4 hours to be funny. I did not need to see clock. Just knew. I love it. Yes, we're working on the mod situations. We are working on it. Solvis, have a good night, buddy. Yeah, I love hearing that stuff, True Helper. It's true, man. She's all over this stuff. She is completely hooked, and it is awesome. There's nothing better than a teammate that's on the same level as you that, you know, is interested in the same stuff. So it just makes it so much easier. Yes, no way tracking. Same here, buddy. We're calling this quits for the night. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. Tomorrow, another one. If in between now and about 4 a.m., if anything crazy happens on this planet, I will be on here to let you know about it. But right now, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, and or Georgia, please be on alert. Keep an eye on your weather. Things could get severe in your area. It's going to come and go in the next 24, 48 hours, maybe 36. But we have another one coming. So, you know, we're going to be doing this again soon. But for now, stay safe. I'm sure by now you all know that having a plan is one of the most important things you could possibly have. The Mississippi River is just flooding. We have tornadoes in places we don't usually get them. I think that's enough information for people to understand that these situations are very, very serious. So, what else we got? We're done here. Coldest temperature was -60. We got done here. We got this one. Our lightning chart's done. And look at that. We're down to one tab. And that is our COD chart. All right, my friends. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And we will talk tomorrow. If not, we will talk if anything groundbreaking happens anywhere in the world. And right now, still flash flooding, Little Rock, Arkansas, a little bit down into Louisiana, and then Jackson, Mississippi into Alabama. We got flash flood watches, so we're going to keep an eye on that. And like I said, I'll be back if I have to be. All right, guys, thank you so much. Norway, thank you. Thank you, True Helper, Mass Destruction. Anyone I didn't forget, you know who you are. All my favorites. Everyone in here is my favorite. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much. We'll be back soon. Very soon. Have a great night. Thank you all. Bye-bye.